generations. And now we're faced with an America with issues because it was corrupted by leadership. We got churches with issues because leadership is corrupt. So you better know that America's got issues because somebody was worshiping the wrong gods. Can I preach in here? I know some of you scared for me. Look at somebody and say, don't be scared. This was ordained. This is the message I saw in the beginning. Trust me. Because of the sins of our forefathers, America is now plagued by the number one thing is fatherlessness. Nearly 80% of our black homes are without a father. Makes our boys inferior, makes them want to dress and look like women, makes them more feminine, effeminate. They don't know how to be a man because they don't have an example of a man. And you're going to go do a ritual where you play dead and put a noose around your neck and pretend you just died. And in the spirit, you're absent. And your lineage suffers. Homosexuality and lesbianism. It always follows Satanism. The first thing they do is pervert the order of God with anti-worship. Two men together is anti-worship. A man that considers himself homosexual, anti-worship. You don't look like what he made you to be. You no longer carry his image. He made you in his image and his likeness, and that is creation. And you're anti that. Can I speak in here? Bondage. They all took slaves. They abused slaves. They raped slaves. Now that spirit is transferred. Now we have more black men in prison than in college. That's true. Ignorance. We don't even know what Freemasonry is. We don't know we pledging Delta and AKA and all this. We don't even know what we're getting into. We just know it's going to make me somebody. We ain't going to ask no questions. Or we're not going to ask a Christian a question, a real one. We're not going to ask God because this is what we want to do. We do things ignorantly, y'all. Poverty. Lord have mercy. You know there's more poor folks than rich folks. Disease. We'll talk about AIDS in just a second. And then ultimately, that death that was rehearsed and played with in the Masonic ritual is coming by leaps and bounds to us. Y'all, we're losing our people. Can I preach in here? Hip-hop is not a culture. No, because of all these things, hip-hop is a consequence. Can I tell the truth in here? Let me go to the beginning of this. Y'all still with me? Where hip-hop started is now where hip-hop is now. Hasn't moved. Where it started is what it is now. It started because they was in clubs stealing and robbing and got kicked out of clubs because they were stealing and robbing from each other. This guy right here is Kool Herc, DJ Kool Herc, who they consider the father of hip-hop because he's the one that created what they call the break beat in the dance and in the disco clubs. The break beat is basically adding another record of the same record that you're already playing, buying two of them, and basically having two turntables. And when one is playing, when it's about to run out, you mix in the other one from the beginning, from the break of the beat, and you extend the song. That's a break beat. That's what Kool Herc from Jamaica was famous for. Jamaican-born DJ known as the father of hip-hop. He's credited for coining the term B-boy, which is break boy, and being the first DJ to extend the break beat on a record. Listen to what he says. He says, in the early 70s, the gangs came up and started to terrorize the clubs in the Bronx, started to smack up girls, started feeding them up and disrespecting him. Hip-hop hasn't changed. Robbing people's coats and stuff, so I shut down the discos. At the time, graffiti vandalism was getting out of hand. Not only that, a lot of 5%ers used to come to the parties. So basically what he's saying is they was killing, they was disrespecting the women, talking about what they was gonna do. They was robbing folks in the club. They got kicked out of the discos, went and formed their own parties to form this thing we've got hip-hop now, where now, you know what they do now? Stealing, killing, disrespecting women. Look at somebody and say, spirit of dumb. Look at somebody else and say, nothing's changed. Listen, y'all, now I'm tired of this, so I'm going to just go on and drive this thing home. Right here. I'm sick of talking about it. The term hip-hop derived from lascivious behavior. Now, if you're going to be the father of hip-hop, then why didn't you name it? What father doesn't name his own child? I don't consider him the father because he didn't name it. These guys named it the Sugar Hill Gang. Uh-oh, somebody about to backslide. Don't go too far back now. Don't let me take you back. Don't start hearing it in your head. But Rapper's Delight, a hip-hop, hippie to the hop, don't stop rocking to the bang, bang boogie. No, stop. Somebody just stood up. That was my jail. We're finna just end this right now. God is a word God. God is into words. And hip-hop means booty shaking. I mean, need we even talk about this anymore? Hip-hop. In this song where they said a hip-hop, you know what they was talking about? They was talking about the way the women's behinds was shaking to their beats. Bang, bang, boogie, up, jump the boogie. They was describing women's behinds shaking. And so they named this wonderful culture, this powerful movement among blacks. And like Bishop Jakes them say, this is God's hand on the youth. This movement, this is the youth. God's hand on the youth is booty shaking. I heard him say one time about me, this brother's stopping the greatest move of God on the youth. If God gonna reach the youth, he's gonna use booty shaking. And if hip-hop means butt shaking, then what is holy hip-hop? Look at somebody say, case closed. I'm sick of that foolishness. Break dancing ain't nothing but Egyptian contortion. See, contortion is when you extend your body out of the natural laws of motion. Whenever somebody anybody ever cast a demon out of anybody? When somebody gets a demon, I'm looking for more hands next time, part 5, I want to see more hands. When you show this video, you're going to have to do it. When you're casting a demon out of somebody, the first thing the demon tries to do is try to make the person move out of the natural laws of motion to show his presence. He constrains and constricts and pulls and makes them do stuff they're not trying to do because he's trying to show himself. That's contortion. That's what a contortionist does. Egyptian contortionists, they pray to demons. The demon manifests in their bodies and they're able to bend and stretch. That's why yoga is so demonic. They're able to bend and stretch out of the natural laws of motion. It is not just contortion, it is worship to what occupies you. Conforming to the image of the thing that is inside of you. Break dancers, remember? Now it done evolved to something else, but remember the first break dancers? You remember what they used to do? Where did that come from? Egypt, remember? Remember? Where did that come from? Pop locking and y'all know they're doing it in church now. You don't know whether to cast the demon out or give them a ribbon. Bro, that was good. I mean, is that, what? Crazy mess. Crump dancing. It's a movie called Rise. They doing this in church, y'all. I'm out of town almost every weekend. I gotta cast demons out of folks that's doing this stuff. It look like they're gonna explode. And they moving real fast and they doing African stuff. They got painted faces representing all that African mysticism. Calling up demons. I was praying for a boy, I'll never forget. My wife was there, we was praying for a boy in Charlotte, North Carolina. And this boy came up and his mom said, his daddy's in a tribe, his daddy's Zulu. And said when his daddy starts dancing, he starts dancing. His daddy is in Africa and he's here. I began to pray for the boy and he began to do the dance of his father and start dancing at me like he was trying to hurt me or do something to me, doing this exact stuff. Because I saw a bit of this movie. I couldn't watch all that foolishness, but I saw a bit of this movie and I saw him doing the same thing this boy was doing. And he kept lunging at me with anger, acting mad like he was gonna do something. You know, I was hoping he didn't try to hit me because then I might not have been spiritual on him. But he just kept popping in my face and just. And I spoke to him. I said, in the name of Jesus, God is your father now. And the boy began to repent and cry out. He stopped and fell to his knees. He said, God, save me right now. I said, now, when your father in heaven does something, you'll do it. And when people see you, they'll only see the Father in heaven. And we broke that curse off of that boy, and he ain't danced like that since. Then they gonna come out with a movement of kids dancing like this. Let me tell you, this foolishness. This dancing, the guy who did the movie said it often looks like a fight outside, and in few cases has developed in a fight. Now remember when you was young and you get in somebody's face? Come on. You know what that meant. Crumping, however, is a more sinister and aggressive dance form. And it is intended, look at somebody say intended. Intended as an expression of anger or a release of pent-up emotion through violent, exaggerated, and dramatic moves. Anger. I wish my child would try to crump. Ain't that the dumbest thing? Expression of anger. Boy, clean your room. I don't want to. Come on, Daddy. What? I got a bad grade on my report card. Look at somebody say foolishness. I'm getting somewhere. Y'all still with me? Hip Hop Honors Awards just happened a few months ago, they got on there and honored what they call the gods of hip hop. I've been telling y'all since part one. They honored Africa Bambaataa, who's holding an ankh. You know, if I didn't know nothing about the ankh, I wouldn't want it after he held one. This right here is Rakim, who was introduced by Common, we'll talk about him later, as the God MC. This is Erykah Badu, who sung a praise and worship song to him at this thing called Zulu. And she began to run across the stage and yell, Zulu, Zulu. And everybody began to sing it. What's the name of this nation? Zulu, Zulu. It's Ice Cube and Lil Jon in the middle. We'll talk about them later too. This is KRS-One, of course, the lead prophet of hip hop. I'm gonna show you two things that these guys spoke. Afrika Bambaataa said, God gives us knowledge which is infinite and even challenge of God, if God exists or does not exist, and to be rulers over the earth. Down he says, but we as Amazulu cannot wait for God to appear and show his, her, whatever self. Look at somebody and say, that's blasphemy. He said, if you want to come to me, you must first believe that I am who I say I am. And he said he's whatever. KRS-One speaks. Listen to this. This is the lead prophet of hip hop. On James Brown, he says, James Brown, he summed up the entire black struggle. James Brown dying on Christ's birthday shows not only who he was, Christ returned, but that hip-hop has a chance politically to take a day. Let's celebrate James Brown. Hip-hoppers celebrate the birth of their soul, the birth of their Christ, the birth of their nature. Every Christmas, we're gonna play James Brown records. All that white Jesus stuff is over. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call James Brown the Christ. When you look at Jesus, look at James Brown. About Afrika Bambaataa, it said, it wasn't like Bambaataa cared. He didn't care about KRS-One in 1986 because he didn't have to. He's still above me. When is the next Zulu Nation reunion, Bam? You are my God, you are my Lord and Savior. And about Kool Herc, he says, today the South gives respect. They treat Kool Herc as Jesus, they treat Afrika Bambaataa as Moses, and they treat KRS-One as David. Can I preach in here? We going somewhere. Look, somebody say he's going somewhere. God's wrath comes first to those that go after other gods. You know what this is? This is Mardi Gras in Louisiana. Of course, this is the Egyptians. They're pushing the Pharaoh down the street. They've got all of these, what they call sprites and all these things in this parade of Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras, look at the sign, how bold they proclaim. Nothing cancels Mardi Gras. Nothing. Sign, we love you, Zulu. Mardi Gras is a celebration, and they celebrate the god Zulu, the god of the Zulus. I even got a little clip right in here of Mayor Ray Nagin. Listen to what he says. Hail Zulu, hail Zulu. And then they wonder what Katrina was looking for. False God worship. This is Russell Simmons. Talked about Kimora on part 3. I gotta talk about hubby. No, they ain't together, but. This is Russell Simmons with Fat Farm. He just came out with a cologne called Atman. The word Atman, pronounced in the Sanskrit like Atma, is interpreted as main essence of man, as his highest self. Russell Simmons mixed up a batch of spiritual oils and called the fragrant Atman, a word that means divine self or God. But the marketing minds of the world's biggest fragrance company that makes Calvin Klein, Nautica, and J.Lo didn't see the fit with his hip-hop following. But then Russell Simmons said, then they said to him, we had quite a standoff. And then Russell Simmons says, they told me God doesn't sell. God isn't sexy. I think God is sexy. 50 Cent and Mobb Deep has a song called Pearly Gates. And in the song they sing, now homie, if I go to hell and you make it to the pearly gates, tell the boss man we got beef. And tell his only son, I'll see him when I see him. And when I see him, I'ma beat him like the movie. For leaving us out here to dry on poverty, for not showing me no signs that they watching over me. Yo, we a new breed in 2006. We don't give a F about that religious bull. Want to know what's wrong with your children? H to the Izzo. V to the Izzy. Jehovah has the song Lucifer that I played backwards that he got mad about. But in this song he says Lucifer, dawn of the morning, which dawn, you know, means in charge. He says in this song, yes, this is a holy war. I wet y'all all with holy water. He says, I sprayed a heckler not automatic, all the static shall cease to exist like a sabbatical. I throw a couple at you, take 6. Listen, he says, spread love to all my dead thugs. I pour out a little Louis to the head above. Yes, sir, and when I perish, the meek shall inherit the earth. Till that time is on and poppin' church. That's Rockaware. This guy puts up the sign of Freemasonry. Beyonce even has on her Deja Vu single a Freemason club mix. Y'all see it? Freemason club mix. And if you wanted to know what this symbol represents, just keep watching. 3-6 Mafia. The 666 Mark of the Beast Mafia. False God worship, Satanism, Luciferianism in the highest degree. Won an Academy Award for their song It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Even has the song Stay Fly, where the girl in the background is saying, Lucifer, you are God, you are King. Your kids don't have to take the mark of the beast. All they got to do is sing that song. But then on their website, they say, thank God, Jesus Christ. Look at somebody and say, foolishness. Listen to one of their songs, and of course you see this picture of them. There are the skulls with the eyes, and then they all got grills and shining, and they say, how can you have faith in a God that cannot even control creation? How can he lead you to salvation? There is no hope, chaos only. Welcome to the other side of reality, and this is your eternity. Hip-hop. Beat, rob, break, murder, erase. Don't run, there's no escape. Bullets hit you right in the face. I'm not scared to catch a case. Slugs, holes, blood, all on your clothes. Who'll die next? Nobody knows. Insane Maine taking a drain. B, I will empty your veins. I do not feel no remorse. Blow your mom off the porch. 45-9 and grenades. Blow your girls right off the stage. Mess with this super thug and get drugged. Sweep your body parts under the rug. Bury this butcher knife deep in your guts. Make you a nice warm blanket of mud. You fools ain't learned to see the rear burn. A hollow point bullet will hit you so hard your body turned. The 3-6 Mafia. And you really want to know the truth? Their fathers are preachers, ministers. Y'all praying for me? I'm not almost finished, but we will get there. Y'all, our culture, black culture, African American culture is in trouble. Being seen and known is plaguing our culture. To most, it's now more important to be seen and known than to see and know. Prince Hall Freemasonry. Brothers join it every day. Most of the time they come out of a sorority or fraternity. They come out of a fraternity because that's like the prelude of it. Allah. Brothers are joining the Nation of Islam. They join it by leaps and bounds. And in Christianity, our leadership is just turning so gay and flaky that brothers want strong black leadership and they don't have fathers in their homes. So they're seeking to the bow tie wearing brothers because they look like men. But they don't believe Jesus is the Christ. Look at somebody and say, Allah's not God. 5% nation, the seventh letter, the G for God. Eastern stars, that's the 5-point pentagram, the symbol of Satan, which is their mark. And of course, gangs, the Crips and the Bloods and different gangs. We're joining this stuff to replace something. We're joining this stuff blindly, not knowing what we're getting into. But to be seen and known is plaguing us, y'all. That's because that's the Luciferian concept. That's what Lucifer wanted. The Bible said he wanted to exalt himself and be seen. He said his glory would surpass the glory of God. He would mount the congregation. He wanted to be seen and known. I hope y'all are listening to me. 1 John says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not, look at somebody and say not, of the Father. In our culture, those that seek fame and riches must sacrifice the morality and future mobility of the young just to be famous. This is Nicole, one of the Pussycat Dolls that sing, I wish, don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? They got a Pussycat show where they trying to find the next Pussycat Doll and got a gospel artist, had a gospel artist judging them. Eric Dawkins from Dawkins and Dawkins, coming out with a gospel album and he judging Pussycat girls, shaking sinfully, lustfully. Ciara, who dances lewdly, and Rihanna, who sings nasty, and Beyonce, who is just, no, it's not Beyonce, remember, it's Sasha. A spirit that lives within her that comes out and does those things. That's what she says. And her own father sat through all of that, allowed her to do the spread in Sports Illustrated and said, well, it's business. Just like Herodias and Salome, who Salome danced in front of her father seductively so that he would kill John the Baptist. Mama sent her up the river just so she could get what she wanted because she was tired of him preaching about the adultery they were committing. So she used her own daughter, flesh and blood. Yeah, that's what they doing to Beyonce for riches, to get what they want. Fatherlessness don't mean all the time that the father ain't there. It just means when he's there, he's not there. Chamillionaire. Need I say anymore? Neo and Chris Brown, that's the little youngster. He young and, you know, he's for the little young girl, but let me skip him, I'll come back to him. Flavor of Love. I ban that, you don't play that mess in my house. That is some food. I feel so sorry for all the young kids that have to watch these girls sleep with each other and defecate on a stairway and what's all that nasty stuff they do. All in the bed with him, sleeping with him as a competition. And he used to rap against black exploitation, and Public Enemy used to, even though they were corrupt with the 5% doctrine, they used to always talk about how the white man was going to exploit him. And now look at him. For the sake of money, he lets them humiliate him. But we know to come to God, you have to humble yourself. But to submit to the Luciferians, you have to humiliate yourself. That's why they make you do that when you go over and go online in these old demonic fraternities and sororities that recognize other gods and stomp and step. That's why I hate that movie Stomp the Yard ever even came out, because now black folk think the only way they can get somewhere is if they pledge and humiliate themselves on some line. Humiliation. Anytime you have to humiliate yourself, you better know that's not God. Oh, I don't preach for hand claps. Look at them using the pyramid, and they call it Greek. I never understood why they call it Greek-lettered organization, and it's all Egyptian. Idols of Egypt. Can I preach in here? Chris Brown, little youngster, gonna sing to your daughter. He's innocent. Buy his album. He's all right, isn't he? He has a song called Gimme That. Mama, you may be 3 years older, but you're hot. Give me that. You be talking like you like what I got. Give me that. Then he says, Ma, which that, y'all, wait, let me talk about this Ma. See, that's effeminate men. Calling a girl Ma. That means mama, I need you as my mama. Basically, I need you to braid my hair and take care of me. Pay my bills. Ma. Buy my rims. Ma. Walking, showing they draws and just all. Ma. Oh, boy, if I was, boy, any woman in here, if somebody call you Ma, that's a sign of what you gonna be if you stay around them. Ma, take a break. Let me explain to you what your body got a young boy ready to do. If you take a chance to let me put them things on you, I could show you why I make them straight A's in school. I'm a hustler. Trust my frame and age. Got you thinking that I'm just too young to turn your page. That's for the little kids, huh? Oh, the little kids are listening to it. Because we have an epidemic in America. African Americans count for 50% of the estimated 44,000 AIDS cases diagnosed in 50 states and the District of Columbia. The rate of AIDS diagnosed for African American adults and adolescents was 10 times the rate for whites. The rate of AIDS diagnosed for African American women was nearly 24 times the rate for white women. The rate of AIDS diagnosed for African American men was 8 times the rate for white men. We came across an AIDS statistic, 40% of the black youth in a school in Fayetteville, North Carolina, were HIV positive. Didn't know it. They were just trying to give blood to the blood bank. going on, y'all. Something's going on. And then when the kids turn on the Christian station, as if they could be helped, not even that, when they watching BET and these other stations, and they showing gospel awards and showing the Christian that's supposed to be leading them to Christ, they trying to mimic the world. Saw an award show the other day. Kirk Franklin on there, thrusting his pelvis back and forth, doing what they call the so fresh and so clean, and all of them just grinding and getting down on the stage. And you wonder what's wrong with your kid. Why they all sexually active and can't get no help. Folk need to see a difference between the clean and the unclean. But from the days of Noah to the present, our culture has been guilty of mixing the sacred and the profane. Let me tell you this little story real quick about Egypt. When Moses was in Egypt, he went to Pharaoh. He told him, he said, we want to worship our God Jehovah. Pharaoh said, okay, worship him. Y'all can do it right here. He said, no, I can't worship God in Egypt because, I'm paraphrasing, you got all these gods up in here. We can't worship our God with the worship of your God. In other words, there has to be a difference because we believe our God to be the real God. So we just ain't gonna worship him right up in here with all this other God worship. He said, nope, you worship him right here with all the other gods. See, Pharaoh had an agenda. He knew if you worship him here with all the other gods, then nobody will see the difference between your God and the other 900 gods of Egypt. Moses said, no, we can't do that. I can't accept that. Pharaoh said, okay, I'll tell you what to do. Take the adults out to the wilderness and worship your God, but leave the children here. He knew the adults knew the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He knew there was really no turning some of them. So go on and get rid of them. But if you get rid of them, then we'll take your kids that are weak, your kids that are vulnerable, your kids that don't know the truth, your kids that have been watching a double life up in their house. They don't understand. So we'll take them and we'll let them watch us worship other gods and mix the real God with the fake God, mix the sacred with the profane, and they won't know what's real and what's fake. The sacred and the profane. Y'all still with me? This is the mixture of the sacred and the profane right here. That's Mega Fest, where they got godless 5% artists singing on the stage, bunch of homosexual gospel musicians and homosexual preachers preaching, whole bunch of mess going on up there. You don't even want to talk about what they doing later in the hotels up in there. Gotta have security guards guarding the bathrooms and stuff to keep the men off each other. Patti LaBelle on tour in the Christian community, singing her gospel, so-called gospel and secular songs, mixing it all up in the churches. Is that, I can't believe it. Medea, cross-dressed man, preaching, using scriptures. Holy hip-hop. Holy. Y'all got it. The Word Network, and everything on the Word ain't bad, but a lot of it is. I tell you, the part that makes me mad is when they have them old godless secular artists up there introducing ministries. You watching the nerd, this is so-and-so, and I just did a filthy porn flick, but you watching the Word Network. Let's look at this. Body and soul gospel. That's a Time release. And we're going to talk about Time Warner later. That's a Time Warner release. Mixing sensual love songs and gospel songs. Interpretations of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Earth, Wind, and Fire, the most demonic Egypt worshiping group. I talked about it in part 3 in history. And Kirk Franklin is on it. Doing one of the Earth, Wind, and Fire songs? interpreting one of the songs. So they won't come try to sue me. TBN. KRS-One was on TBN. Paul Mooney, look at him, dressed like Christ. Know your history. Jesus was a black man. Look at somebody and say he was a Jew. Somebody just, spirit of dumb. BET, I hate that station. That's the booty entertainment television. That's all they show. Because that's what hip hop is. They trying to appeal to us. And if you want to appeal to us, you better have some stuff shaking and jiggling. Make us dance. I hate it because they mix the sacred and the profane. 1 hour of preaching, the next hour of butt shaking. 1 hour of preaching, the next hour, then gospel artists giving secular artists awards. Secular artists giving gospel artists awards. And they try to call it a black station. That ain't no black entertainment television. Because when something black is happening, they ain't ever even showing it. Oh yeah, oh y'all, I'm gonna prove that. When Coretta Scott King died, and she's supposed to be a prominent black figure, they had live national coverage on all the white stations. Guess what BET was showing? When Rosa Parks, who sparked the civil rights movement, a very important character or personality in our history, when they were showing her funeral on all the other stations, guess what black entertainment television was showing? Oh, I can raise you one. When 9/11 happened and the planes hit the buildings, thousands of lives were destroyed. MTV stopped and began to show live footage. Guess what black entertainment television was showing? Videos. Y'all, this is not funny. I'm sorry. What does Blair Underwood, who had an adulterous affair on the television show Sex in the City, where they promote homosexuality and a sexual lifestyle in your 30s. James Brown, who even had a 5-point pentagram, a Luciferian symbol on his cape on one of his performances. And Ayanna Vanzant, who is a spiritualist, a princess in some godless religion. Faith sings sexually explicit stuff. Common, 5%er, doesn't even believe Jesus is the Son of God and referred to Rakim as God. Sanaa Lathan, who kissed a woman on Nip Tuck and had an affair with a woman on the show. Tyrese's music is sexually perverse and sad. And of course, Denzel Washington, who says he prays to ancient spirits and angels. What do all these guys have in common? They're all voices on the. That means when you buy this Bible so you can listen to the Bible, you're listening to people that don't even practice the Bible.